In this video, we're going to talk about what it means when you have a house in your dream. Hi, I'm Karen, and I dream a lot, and I like to study and talk about dreams and dream interpretations and do dream interpretations for people. If you've ever had a dream where you had a house, put it in the comments below. Let us know. When a house shows up in a dream, there's one shortcut that I use to understand what it can mean, and then you can move from there depending on what happens in the house, how the house looks. And the shortcut is the house represents yourself, your soul. So the house is the dreamer's self, generally, is how I see it. But you could intersperse that with soul. It's kind of like the phrase, home is where the heart is. So if there's a house in your dream, it represents you, basically. And remember, most everything in a dream does represent the dreamer, but the house is like the most representative of you as a person. What's happening to you can be shown in what's happening to the house in the dream. If the house is empty, that represents feelings of insecurity. You feel empty inside, basically. Again, dreams are all about metaphor and symbols. Empty house, feelings of insecurity. You could have those feelings, be worried about those things. If the house in the dream is shifting or moving, that represents that you are going through some changes. You may be questioning your beliefs, and therefore your self feels like it's shifting or changing. If there are no walls in the house, you're in a house with no walls, either internally no walls or no outside walls, that means that you feel like you don't have any privacy. A lot of times when we have these kinds of dreams, the houses are in different conditions. Sometimes they're brand new, sometimes they're old, sometimes they're run down or they're haunted. So what do those things mean? If you see an abandoned house, that actually means that you have left your past behind and you're ready to move forward into your future. So this is one of those symbols that it sounds like it's a negative symbol, but it actually is talking about new beginnings, new change. If the house is a rundown old house, that represents old beliefs and attitudes, how you used to think or feel. It could be that something in your situation, in your waking life, is reminding you of these old beliefs, or maybe you're in the process of letting those old beliefs go. You could be repeating those old beliefs. So when this comes up in a dream, it's an opportunity. It's kind of a sign saying, let's check in with myself and see if I'm repeating old beliefs or if I'm moving forward and just releasing them. Kind of related to that, it could also mean you need to update the way you think about things. If you see a house that's messy and dilapidated, then an aspect of your life is in chaos right now. If you have that dream and that's the house you see, okay, where do I feel like there's a sense of chaos in my life? Where might I have some emotional or psychological clutter? And then kind of related to this, if you are cleaning your house in the dream, that represents the need to clean out old ways, clear out old ways of thinking, clearing your thoughts. So you're getting rid of that mental clutter. It could also just represent that you're seeking self-improvement right now, like you're hoping to improve yourself. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a thing if you have this dream about a cluttery area or something. It could mean that you are doing it. It could also mean that the dream is helping you to do that, that your subconscious is releasing these old things, and there's not necessarily anything you have to go do, but just be aware that, oh, I'm in a period right now where I'm changing my thoughts about situations. Now, sometimes a house in a dream means a house in real life. So if you dream that your house is damaged, that could be if you're going through some problems with your own house. It could just be reflected in your dreams. If there is some damage in your house in real life, you might dream about it in your dream. If you're going through kind of like a remodel or reconstruction, or you're building a house in real life, a real house, you might dream about that too. If you dream of a new house, that represents moving into a new phase of your life. You have a new self that you're building. You're becoming more emotionally mature as well. If you are in a dream and you see your childhood home, you know it's your home from when you were a kid, or in the dream it represents that. You're like, oh, this is my childhood home, but it looks a little bit different. That can represent a couple of different things. It could be just a nostalgia. You're missing your past. You're missing something from your childhood. Or it can represent outdated thinking, that you might be letting go of some outdated thinking, or you're just experiencing or thinking things the way you did when you were a kid. It kind of is a representation of aspects of yourself from your past. And a lot of times when we dream about things from the past, and maybe this would be a good video to do, it's generally just a reminder, our subconscious reminding us of either who we were in the past, how we acted in the past, something that happened in the past that we can learn from now, or make sure we're not doing now. So you kind of have to have some self-awareness when those kind of past symbolism comes up in your dream, but that's Generally, anything from the past is referring to how were you back then? Is it serving you now or is it not? That's the question the dreamer needs to ask themselves. If you are in a house and it could be a house from your past, like when you grew up in, or in your current house, or just any old house, and you going through the house and you keep finding new rooms and new hallways and new, like, oh, I didn't know this was here. You go through a closet and then there's this whole other wing of the house. You're like, I didn't know this was here, but yeah, I guess it was here. I have those dreams a lot, can you tell? That means that you are searching and discovering new parts of yourself, new aspects of yourself. Remember, rooms represent aspects of yourself. So if you keep discovering new rooms that you didn't know were there, that's a metaphor for discovering new parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. And as we grow, that's what happens. We do find new parts of ourselves that we didn't know existed. So even though in the dream it might feel kind of weird, for me, when I have those dreams, I'm always like, why didn't I know this was here? And I have this kind of sense of like discovery, like this is cool, but a little bit of regret that I didn't know, and it's really cool. And wow, I didn't know that was here. It's kind of exciting. So that's basically how it is when we discover new parts of ourselves. We kind of wish we'd known this sooner. I wish I knew I was strong earlier in my life, but it's kind of cool to know, well, but I know I'm strong, so I can do this thing I'm facing. If you're getting value from these meanings, please click the like button so that more people can find out what it means when they dream about a house. Thank you. I mentioned this in the video about water, but if you have a house and there's water rising in the house, remember water represents emotion. So when you dream that there's water rising in your house, you're dreaming of overwhelming emotion within yourself, right? So you're starting to feel rising emotion. If you dream of water coming down inside the house, that's more of a cleansing, refreshing kind of symbolism. So that can mean that your emotions are either subsiding, though it's generally, if it's water coming down onto you, it's kind of a more refreshing, cleansing kind of symbolism. So that can mean that you are going through a time of emotional or spiritual healing and cleansing. If your house is underwater, that actually not a bad thing. It means you're comfortable with emotion. So a lot of times we might think, well, being underwater is not a desirable thing when you're awake. But in a dream, being underwater and the water's calm generally means that you are okay with a lot of emotion. I mentioned that I did a dream all about water and what it means when you dream about water and different things and what water's doing and how it looks and that big tidal wave of water. So go ahead and watch the next video, which will tell you all about that. Thank you for watching this one. Follow me over on Instagram at Caryndreams, and please subscribe to this channel.